In the dimly lit corridors of time, where history and legend blur into one another, there exists a hidden grove, a sanctuary cloaked in mystery and whispered secrets. This is no ordinary place. It is a realm where shadows dance with light, and silence speaks volumes. It is here, within this enigmatic space, that you find yourself now. As a wisdom seeker, your soul has been drawn to this sacred ground by an unseen force, urging you to uncover the profound truths that lie dormant beneath the surface. The air is thick with anticipation, carrying the scent of ancient parchment and the faint echo of philosophical musings. You feel the pulse of something greater than yourself, a pull towards understanding and mastery over the chaos that life often brings. This journey, however, is not for the weak or the indifferent. It is reserved for those who dare to confront their deepest fears, embrace their innermost desires, and transcend the mundane to touch the divine. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy we explore today, is more than a mere intellectual exercise. It is a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in uncertainty. Imagine Stoicism as a lighthouse, guiding lost ships through treacherous waters to safe harbor. Its teachings, handed down through generations by great minds like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, offer a framework for living with purpose, resilience, and grace. Consider the story of Diogenes, who chose to live in a barrel, rejecting societal norms to pursue a life of simplicity and truth. Or the tale of Zeno, founder of Stoicism, whose shipwreck led him to Athens, where he discovered his true calling. These narratives are not just historical anecdotes, but parables of transformation, testaments to the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity through wisdom and fortitude. Now, imagine standing at the threshold of this mysterious grove, feeling the weight of centuries pressing against your chest. The trees around you seem alive, their branches swaying as if beckoning you closer. In the distance, you hear the soft murmur of a stream, its waters flowing with the essence of knowledge and enlightenment. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with the intoxicating aroma of pine and earth, preparing yourself for what lies ahead. Today, we delve into a subject both urgent and timeless, dealing with toxic people. These individuals, whether they be colleagues, friends, or family members, can poison our lives with negativity, draining us of our energy and eroding our sense of self. But fear not, for within the heart of this ancient grove lies 8 powerful ways to navigate these challenging relationships, each one a key to unlocking your inner strength and reclaiming your peace of mind. As you step forward, the path before you begins to illuminate, revealing the first way. Each step along this journey will challenge you, push you to your limits, and ultimately transform you. The philosophers who walked this path before us have left behind invaluable insights, guiding lights that will help you traverse the darkest moments. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Every like, subscribe helps us continue our mission of sharing knowledge. And leave a comment below and share your opinion on these strategies, or tell me which one resonates with you the most. Ready to unlock more wisdom? So let us begin. Let us embark on this mystical quest together, hand in hand, heart to heart. For within you lies the potential to rise above the noise, to see beyond the veil of illusion, and to emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Welcome, dear wisdom seekers, to a journey unlike any other. A journey that promises not only to change your life, but to elevate your very essence. Way 1. The art of indifference, becoming untouchable. Wisdom seekers, let me ask you this. Have you ever stood in the eye of a storm? Not running, not fighting, just standing there, untouched as the wind howled and the rain struck all around you? This is how a Stoic moves through life when faced with toxic people. Not with anger, not with fear, not even with resistance, but with something far more powerful, indifference. It sounds simple, but in practice, it is a skill so rare that only the strongest minds achieve it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is where the battle is fought. Not in words, not in confrontations, not in trying to change another person, but in mastering your own response. Toxic people feed on your reaction. They thrive on the energy you give them, whether it's frustration, anger, or even the desperate attempt to explain yourself. Every time you engage, you are giving them exactly what they want: your attention, your energy, your focus. And when you do that, you are making them the center of your world. But tell me, why would you ever allow a destructive person to dictate the state of your mind? The true Stoic does not react. He observes, he acknowledges, and then, like the unshaken mountain standing against the wind, he remains unmoved. This is not weakness, this is not submission, this is supreme power. To refuse to be disturbed is the greatest insult to someone who wishes to control you. Picture this. Someone throws an insult at you, expecting anger, expecting retaliation, expecting some kind of emotional outburst. And what do they receive instead? Silence. A calm gaze. Maybe even the faintest hint of a smile. Not out of arrogance, but out of complete and utter detachment. They have no power over you because you have already made the decision. Nothing they say or do is worth your peace. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, gave us a perfect analogy for this. He said, if someone tried to hand you a worthless coin and you refused to accept it, to whom does it still belong? To them. The same is true of insults, negativity, and manipulation. If you do not accept it, if you do not react to it, it remains theirs. It never becomes yours. This is the art of indifference. It is not about ignoring people entirely. It is not about pretending they don't exist. It is about seeing them for what they truly are, irrelevant to your internal state. Their words do not touch you because you do not allow them to. Their actions do not disturb you because you have already decided that your peace is beyond their reach. This is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires training. It requires a complete shift in the way you see human interactions. But the reward is priceless. Because once you master this, once you develop an indifference so profound that no insult, no slight, no manipulation can shake you, you become untouchable. Wisdom seekers, remember this. The most powerful man in the room is not the one who yells the loudest. It is not the one who argues the best. It is the one who remains calm, unaffected, indifferent. This is your goal. This is your strength. And when you master it, you will walk through life like a warrior that cannot be wounded. Way 2. The power of emotional detachment, seeing with clarity. Most people are prisoners of their own emotions. They react before they think. They let anger, frustration, and sadness dictate their actions. But a true Stoic, a true master of life, does the opposite. He does not suppress his emotions. He understands them, he controls them, and above all, he detaches from them. Imagine a battlefield. Two warriors face each other. One is driven by rage, swinging wildly, consumed by emotion. The other is calm, precise, watching every move with complete control. Who will win? The one who sees clearly, the one who is not blinded by feelings, the one who acts with reason rather than impulse. This is what emotional detachment offers you. When you remove yourself from the emotional chaos that toxic people try to create, you see them exactly for what they are. You see their insecurities, their fears, their desperate need for validation. They are no longer a threat to you because they have no control over what truly matters, your perception. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And this is the very reason why toxic people have power over others, because most people allow their minds to be consumed by imagined slights, exaggerated offenses, and unnecessary emotional turmoil. The Stoic, however, is different. He asks himself, is this truly worth my energy? Or is this simply my mind creating unnecessary suffering? Once you begin to detach, you will notice something remarkable. The things that once angered you will seem small. The people who once drained you will feel insignificant. The words that once wounded you will lose their power. Because you will have taken control of the one thing that truly matters, your own mind. The trick is to train yourself to pause, to take a breath before reacting, to step outside of yourself and observe the situation like an outsider. Ask yourself, what is actually happening here? What is this person trying to achieve? Are they trying to provoke me? Are they seeking attention? Are they simply projecting their own insecurities onto me? By detaching, you strip them of their power. You remove the only weapon they have against you, your emotional response. There's an old parable that illustrates this perfectly. A wise monk and his student were walking along a river when they saw a woman struggling to cross. The monk lifted her onto his shoulders and carried her across. Hours later, the student, clearly troubled, finally spoke. "Master, why did you carry that woman? It is forbidden for us to touch a woman." The monk simply smiled and replied, I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? This is what emotional detachment teaches us: to put things down, to stop carrying the weight of words, actions, and people that do not deserve space in our minds, to refuse to allow the poison of others to linger in our souls. Wisdom seekers never forget. The strongest man is not the one who fights every battle. It is the one who chooses which battles are worth his time. And most of the time, the greatest battle you will ever fight is the battle for your own peace. Let go, detach, and watch as the chaos of the world loses its grip on you. Way 3. The mastery of silence, using the unspoken as a weapon. There is a hidden power in silence, a power so immense that most people will never understand it. Toxic people thrive on reaction. They expect arguments, they expect counterattacks, they expect you to defend yourself. But what happens when you give them nothing? Imagine standing before a man who shouts insults at you, waiting for your anger, waiting for your defense. But you do not respond. You simply look at him, unbothered, uninterested. The silence stretches, suffocating him, forcing him to confront the emptiness of his own words. He speaks again, louder this time, but you remain still. And then suddenly, the power shifts. Lao Tzu once said, "Silence is a source of great strength." He understood that words are often unnecessary, that true control comes from knowing when not to speak. In the presence of toxicity, silence is not weakness, it is strategy. It is a weapon sharper than any insult, stronger than any argument. Toxic people expect engagement. They expect to pull you into their storm, to twist your words, to make you a part of their chaos. But when you do not engage, when you refuse to participate, they are left alone with their own toxicity. And in that moment, their power dissolves. Silence is not just about refusing to speak. It is about refusing to react. It is about remaining composed when everything in you wants to fight back. It is about understanding that some people are not worth your words, that some battles are won by simply not fighting. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And what is the most common trait of a toxic person? Noise. They fill the air with manipulation, with complaints, with gossip, with lies. They seek attention, they seek validation, and they seek to pull you into their world of drama. By choosing silence, you reject that world. You do not give them the energy they crave. You do not validate their existence with your reaction. You let them speak, you let them complain, you let them try, and yet you remain untouched. This does not mean you never speak. It means you choose when and how to use your words. It means you do not waste your breath on those who do not deserve it. It means you make every word count. Seneca advised, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." And part of learning how to live is mastering when to speak and when to remain silent. This is something weak men will never understand. They argue, they shout, they waste their energy proving themselves to those who do not matter. But the wise man knows that his energy is too valuable to be thrown away on fools. Silence is patience. It is discipline. It is the ultimate demonstration of power. And when you learn to use it, toxic people will no longer be able to control you. Let them talk, let them scream, let them try to provoke you, and respond with nothing. Because in that nothingness, you hold all the power. Way 4, the strength of boundaries, the art of saying no. A man without boundaries is a man without respect. If you allow toxic people to invade your space, to dictate your time, to manipulate your emotions, then you have already lost. But if you learn to build walls, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, then you will become untouchable. Most people fear saying no. They fear disappointing others. They fear being seen as selfish. But let me ask you this, whose life are you living? Yours or theirs? If you allow toxic people to take from you, they will take everything. They will take your time, your energy, your peace, your sanity, and they will not stop until there is nothing left. But the moment you set boundaries, the moment you stand firm and refuse to be used, everything changes. Epictetus taught, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. In other words, define yourself. Know your limits, decide what you will and will not accept, and then enforce it. A toxic person will always test you. They will push against your boundaries. They will guilt you, manipulate you, try to make you feel like you owe them something, but you owe them nothing. Your time is yours, your peace is yours, and anyone who cannot respect that does not deserve a place in your life. A boundary is not a wall built out of fear. It is a fortress built out of self-respect. It is not about shutting people out. It is about controlling who you allow in. And the moment you start enforcing these boundaries, you will notice something. Toxic people will begin to disappear. Why? Because they cannot survive in an environment where they are not allowed to manipulate. They cannot thrive in a space where they do not have control. And when they realize that they can no longer use you, they will move on. This is why boundaries are not just important, they are essential. Without them, you will forever be at the mercy of others. But with them, you become the master of your own life. Wisdom seekers, let me leave you with this. You do not have to explain your boundaries. You do not have to justify them. You do not have to argue about them. You simply have to enforce them. Say no. Walk away. Refuse to engage, and watch as your world becomes free from those who seek to drain you. Way 5. The discipline of emotional control. Becoming the unshaken mountain. Wisdom seekers, think of a great mountain. It stands firm against the winds, unmoved by storms, untouched by the chaos around it. No matter how violently the skies rage above, the mountain remains unshaken. This is how you must be when dealing with toxic people. Most men are slaves to their emotions. They allow anger to consume them, frustration to dictate their actions, and resentment to cloud their judgment. But a Stoic man, a master of himself, is different. He does not let the words or actions of others control him. He controls himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." Do you see the wisdom in this? The world does not care about your anger. It does not care about your frustration. Toxic people do not care how much they drain you. If anything, they thrive on your emotional instability. But what happens when you take that away from them? What happens when they try to provoke you, insult you, manipulate you, and you respond with absolute calm? You take away their power. This does not mean you suppress your emotions. That would be foolish. The Stoics never taught suppression, they taught control. There's a difference. Suppression is ignoring your emotions, pretending they do not exist. Control is acknowledging them, but refusing to be ruled by them. Imagine someone insults you. The weak man reacts immediately, his pride wounded, his ego inflamed. He fights back, raises his voice, engages in a battle that was designed to trap him. But the Stoic? He pauses, he assesses. He asks himself, does this deserve my energy? And more often than not, the answer is no. Seneca once said, "A sword never kills anybody, it is a tool in the killer's hand." The same is true for emotions. Anger, hatred, frustration. These things are only dangerous when you allow them to control you. But if you master them, if you use them with precision, they become tools rather than weaknesses. Do not mistake emotional control for weakness. The world will try to convince you that being calm means being passive, that not reacting means being a coward. But the truth is the opposite. The strongest man is the one who remains composed when all others lose themselves. You must train yourself in this discipline. The next time someone tries to provoke you, do not react. Pause. Observe. See them for what they are, a test. A test of your control, of your discipline, of your ability to remain the mountain while others are tossed by the storm. And if you can do this, if you can become the man who refuses to be moved, then no toxic person, no manipulator, no fool will ever have power over you again. Way 6. The wisdom of walking away. Knowing when to let go. There is a time for patience, there is a time for endurance, but there is also a time for leaving. Wisdom seekers understand this. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every relationship is worth saving. Not every person is worth your time. And the greatest mistake a man can make is believing that he must stay in situations that drain him simply because he once cared. Most people remain trapped by toxic individuals because they fear leaving. They fear the discomfort of change, the uncertainty of walking away. But what they do not realize is that by staying, they are slowly poisoning themselves. Epictetus said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." And yet, how many men allow themselves to be surrounded by those who drain them? How many tolerate disrespect, manipulation, negativity, simply because they are too afraid to walk away? A strong man knows when to let go. He understands that his time, his energy, and his peace are his most valuable possessions. and he guards them fiercely. If a person consistently disrespects you, if they bring nothing but chaos into your life, if they drain you rather than uplift you, why are they still in your world? It is not weakness to leave. It is not cowardice to remove yourself from toxic people. It is wisdom. It is strength. It is self-respect. But here is the key. When you walk away, do not look back. Most people leave, but they leave with hesitation, with guilt, with lingering attachments. And in doing so, they remain chained to the very thing they were trying to escape. A true Stoic leaves with finality. He does not beg for closure. He does not wait for an apology that will never come. He does not seek revenge or validation. He simply leaves. This requires a kind of inner strength that most will never develop. Because to walk away is to admit that something no longer serves you. It is to let go of the illusion that things will change. And for many, that is the hardest lesson of all. But here is what you must understand. When you remove toxic people from your life, you create space for better things. When you walk away from negativity, you open the door for peace, for growth, for the kind of life you actually deserve. So do not fear leaving. Fear staying in a place that slowly destroys you. Because at the end of your life, you will not regret the things you let go of. You will only regret the things you allowed to hold you back. Way 7. The power of inner stillness, becoming an unshakable force. Imagine a vast ocean. A storm rages above, winds howl, waves crash violently. But deep beneath the surface, in the depths where no storm can reach, the water remains still, calm, undisturbed, unshaken. This is the mind of a true Stoic. This is the state of a man who has mastered himself. Toxic people are storms. They create chaos wherever they go. They provoke, manipulate, insult, spread lies, all in an attempt to stir the waters of your soul. But what happens when you refuse to let them affect you? What happens when, no matter what they say or do, your inner state remains untouched? You become untouchable. Seneca once wrote, "A raging fire turns all that it touches into its own substance, but a great mind turns all that happens to its own advantage." This is the essence of inner stillness, not just enduring hardship, but transforming it into wisdom, not just surviving toxicity, but rising above it. Most people react. They let their emotions dictate their actions. But the man who cultivates inner stillness does not react. He responds. He takes his time. He breathes. He sees the situation for what it truly is, free from the distortions of anger or fear. When someone insults him, he does not retaliate. He understands that an insult only has power if he allows it to. When someone tries to manipulate him, he does not fall for it. He sees through the illusion. When someone brings drama, he does not participate. He simply watches, unmoved like the depths of the ocean beneath the storm. But this level of control does not come naturally. It must be trained. It must be cultivated. It requires discipline. It requires daily practice. And it requires one simple truth to be burned into your mind. Your peace is your responsibility. No one can take it from you unless you allow them to. Picture a man standing in the middle of a battlefield, swords clashing, arrows flying, yet he remains still, unafraid, unbothered. He is not reckless. He is not numb. He is simply in complete control of himself. This is the state you must strive for, because once you master inner stillness, nothing will ever have power over you again. Way 8. The ultimate perspective shift, seeing toxic people as teachers. Most people see toxic individuals as obstacles, as enemies, as burdens placed in their path. But what if I told you that every toxic person you encounter is actually a teacher? Think about it. A manipulator teaches you the importance of discernment. A liar teaches you the value of truth. A betrayer teaches you to be careful with your trust. An envious person teaches you the power of self-contentment. Every toxic person you encounter gives you an opportunity to strengthen your mind, to sharpen your awareness, to reinforce your boundaries. If you shift your perspective, you will see that they are not hindering your growth. They are fueling it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the key. Toxic people do not block your path. They are the path. They are the forge in which your resilience is tempered. Most people waste their energy resenting toxic individuals. They hold on to anger, to bitterness, to a sense of injustice. But the wise man understands that resentment is pointless. Why hate the fire that makes you stronger? Why curse the stone that sharpens your blade? The true Stoic does not run from challenges, he embraces them. He does not fear hardship, he transforms it. And so, when a toxic person enters his life, he does not waste time complaining or seeking revenge. He simply observes. He learns. And then he moves forward, stronger, wiser, and completely unshaken. Wisdom seekers, remember this. Every encounter, every hardship, every difficult person is an opportunity. You can let them break you, or you can let them build you. The choice is always yours. And when you finally reach the point where nothing can disturb your peace, when no toxic person can touch your mind, when you walk through life completely unaffected, you will know that you have mastered the art of true strength. Final thoughts. The path to unshakable strength. Wisdom seekers, if there is one thing you must take from this, it is this: you are in control. Toxic people exist. They always have, and they always will. You cannot change them. You cannot reason with them. You cannot fix them. But you can master yourself. And once you do that, their power over you disappears. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Do you understand what that means? It means that no matter what happens, no matter who tries to disrupt your peace, no matter what chaos surrounds you, your mind remains your own. You do not have to engage. You do not have to react. You do not have to justify yourself to anyone. You are not here to be drained by the weak, to be controlled by the manipulative, or to waste your energy on those who do not deserve it. You are here to build yourself into something unshakable, a man of wisdom, a man of discipline, a man who does not bend to the will of others but stands firm in his own truth. This is the way of the Stoic. This is the path of true power. So from this moment forward, let no toxic person disturb your peace. Let no insult shake your confidence. Let no manipulator twist your reality. You know who you are, and that is all that matters. Walk away when necessary. Set boundaries without fear. Cultivate indifference. Master silence. And above all, use every challenge, every toxic encounter as a stepping stone to something greater. Because when you reach the point where no one can break your inner peace, you will know that you have become truly free.